Okay, welcome to this another C stand-up production here. We got the internet and stage comedy phenom, Robert Hines. For those who do know him, man, you've seen him on the Toby Jones videos all across the social media, internet, especially YouTube. And if you've been in the comedy scene or a fan of comedy, you've probably had a chance to check him out. Just doing his thing on stage, especially right now. He has a show that's coming up in the Chicago area. I don't want to date this too much because it is a recording, but man, just go to his website, roberthines.com, right? And check
RobertLHines.com.
Robert L. Hines. My bad, Rob. You got to get it right. So we go back, man. We go back probably basically since before I started, right? I was the DJ, and you used to come in as a young, way heavier dude and wreck the room, crush. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was, oh, Robert Hines, you know what I'm saying? So it was dope back then, man. So let's go all the way back so that we can get a record of who the fuck you are. You know what I'm saying? I know you were originally from Chicago, but how did you start comedy, man? Where was your first step? Who brought you to the stage first ever?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. The story you're asking is really interesting. Well, first of all, the way I started, I went to Chicago Vocational High School.
Right.
And there was Dave Duerson was mentoring kids at my high school. Dave Duerson was the safety for the Super Bowl Bears. He wound up killing himself because he had that brain damage deal.
Yeah.
But Dave Duerson used to mentor students at my school. I wasn't one of those students, but I used to wear them Bill Cosby sweaters, and they let me in everywhere.
They were popular.
Yeah. I went in with a little Bill Cosby sweater and looked real studious. And I was in the back of the room because I wasn't supposed to be there. And he was like, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I was being a little asshole at the time. I was like, I want to be a comedian. How you going to help me? Now, this is in 1987. Right. And he goes, well, I don't really know much about comedy, but Tim Reitman, who was the tight end for the Bears at the time, hangs out at this club called the Funny Firm. Yeah. So I go to the Funny Firm at 17. They wouldn't let me in. And so I waited till I was 21, and I went back to the Funny Firm, and they still didn't let me in. January, right around my birthday, I went right back. They wouldn't let me in. I mean, they let me in, but they wouldn't let me up. So it took me about 6 months. So like June, they let me go up. And when I came off stage, this dude named Evan Lionel walks up to me and goes, hey, man, how long you been doing stand-up? I was like, I just started. He was like, come into the back of the room. Yeah. In the middle of the club, he just walked. You know how Evan's like 6'4", some shit. Good looking.
I didn't realize that he was that tall. You know, I ain't seen Lonnie Lionel since like 89, 93.
Really? Yeah, man.
Yeah, I haven't visually touched.
He might be
about
6'2", 6'3". Yeah, 6'2", 6'3".
But I didn't think he was like 6'4", 6'5". But
no, he's about 6'2", 6'3". Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Finish the story, bro, because this is great. I we go back so far, but I've never had a chance to really interview you. You know what I mean? We just talk over, whatever the hell we was dealing with at the time.
At the time, yeah. It's always something weird, and it's always something weird. And so what wound up happening is like he's tall. He walks up to me in the middle of the room like it ain't a show going on. Because Lonnie kind of like a gangster, right? Lonnie kind of a rough dude. If he a good guy, but if you stand on the wrong side of the dude, I wouldn't do it.
He pure Chicago. He pure Chicago.
Yeah. So he walks me to the back of the room where he introduces me to Bernie Mac, James Hanna, Rand Howard, and Shay Shay, all was back there.
Yeah, and then, all murderers.
Man, all of them carrying wood back then. Yeah. This is 1991.
Okay.
And then the next thing I know, Bernie invites me over to the Cotton Club.
Okay.
And I go up at the Cotton Club, and it was phenomenal. I couldn't believe, I didn't know at the time. I didn't know who Bernie was.
Yeah.
So it's just
none of us did.
Right. Well, that was my first time. But here's the thing, though. they had this thing called the Miller.
Genuine Miller.
Back then it was the Miller Lite Comedy Search.
Okay.
So 1990 Bernie won, and I went down there to see if I could get on. And I didn't understand why everybody there knew each other. Everybody there knew each other because I didn't know that there was a community back then. Right. So then when I went back in January and actually got in, I really didn't know who Bernie was. I just remember like that's the dude that everybody knew. Yeah. And so when we went to his club, I didn't know what to expect. So when he did, you know how Bernie used to do 45 minutes in front of you, boy, at the Cotton Club where everybody, it's midnight on a Monday night.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. And it started at 11.
And ain't none of them niggas got jobs. You know what I'm saying? Right. They had on Coochie sweaters and Gazelle glass. It was all gangsters and shit.
Yeah, gangbangers. Did his drug dealers and shit.
Absolutely. He did his 45 minutes of hilarity, then introduced me, and I did my little cutesy shit, and it got over. Yeah. But that was the last time for a long while I got over at the Cotton Club. It was a hard show.
Yeah, man. I love it. I love being able to have had the opportunity to see that because a lot of these people, especially these millennial comics, they have no idea how serious the crowd was in the Cotton Club. They even have no idea of how Michigan Street back over in that area was so serious back then.
Man, listen, hey, and you know what? It wasn't always just Michigan Street. Sometimes a motherfucker get a little too jazzy at the mouth on the south side. Yeah. And you hear somebody getting socked up outside the club. You went out there just in time to pick the nigga up. You gonna watch your mouth, ain't you?
Right. But nobody got, for the most part, nobody got killed. You know what I'm saying? The motherfucker's ego just got
I don't ever remember anybody getting killed, but it was a couple motherfuckers got tightened up a little.
Oh,
bit.
For sure.
I used to do comedy at 79th and Halsted. Remember when the Sandpiper used to be over there?
Wow, no, I wasn't. Remember, I was a DJ at that time, so I wasn't going to all
69th and Halsted. But it was a place called the Sandpiper that the folks used to hang out.
Yeah, either way, if it's on Halsted and it's not 95th, 95th Street, right where Beverly is, that shit was greasy. It was tough.
Yeah, it was.
You could get your ass spanked over there. Grown man spanked with a belt. I seen that. God damn, how you gonna humiliate this motherfucker in front of his girlfriend like this? Y'all both grown men.
Man. Dude, if you beat me with a belt, you might as well watch your back. Fuck that. It is clear you're the better man. Now I got to shoot you. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I was like, dude, this was at the Hummingbird. I was young, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness. Let me hear that story.
Yeah, I don't know all of it. I just walked up and the dude was getting shook like this, you know what I'm saying? Like this. And something else, and the man pulled his belt off and whooped him, and the motherfucker was grown. Wow. I mean, he had to at least be like 24 years old. He was younger, clearly younger than the other dude. And I don't think they was related. It wasn't a father. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't father, uncle, grandfather handling. It was you touched my chick the wrong way and you finna pay like this.
Oh, well, I mean, if you feeling on people's girls, you should expect to get an ass whooping of some sort.
I don't know the whole story, Rob. All I know is you're not supposed to whoop a grown man with a belt, and the grown man's not supposed to be okay with that. You know, I think dude was not. He was not trying to participate in this situation. You know what I'm saying?
Wait a minute. The
audience tell your story. We done varied off into some other shit.
Hey, but wait. Shit. Let me just rewind. The audience didn't know that wasn't what it was. We could have just let it sit right there.
Right. Okay.
So then after the Cotton Club, man, I just hung out with them cats all the time, every night I could be out. Yeah. And then there was this place that Bernie and Lonnie used to do called Spices.
Spices, I remember.
Spices was in the basement. It was like on Franklin and like Chicago or Wells in Chicago, under the train tracks, right? Right. And it was cool as hell. A couple about my age now, owned it, and they were down under the train tracks. And you go down in this basement, and the room sat about maybe 100, maybe 75, 100 people. Them dudes used to have 125 people stuck. One time, the fire marshal came in.
Yeah, and couldn't get in. You know.
Yeah, you couldn't. And it was in the basement. So down the staircase, it's people standing all down. Man, it would be packed in there every night.
Oh wait, man, that's not Miltroneers you talking about?
Not Miltroneers. Miltroneers came in the mid 90s.
Okay.
Or the mid to late 90s. This was 1991. This was before All Jokes Aside.
Yeah, okay.
And that's how All Jokes Aside found comics. They went to Spices.
Okay.
It would and it would be rocking in there every night. Like everybody, all stars started showing up. Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro was coming?
With Bill Murray.
Wow.
One night, Evan brought. Huh?
Bill Murray tried to get on stage, or he was just coming to check it out?
No, they just came in and sat in the back and then hung out with Evan them afterwards.
Yeah. Oh man, that's dope.
Bill Murray, Phyllis Hyman.
Yeah, I remember.
Everybody showed up to that joint, man. Yeah. And then All Jokes Aside started, and All Jokes Aside was about, when I got there, it was about 6 weeks in.
Okay.
And I was there every week, and they gave me a job.
Yeah.
And I started seating people. Now, this is the interesting thing.
Okay.
In the beginning, when I started, because All Jokes Aside was in 2 different locations.
Yeah.
First, it was at 819 South Wabash.
Right.
It's a building called the Loftorium Muse. Now, back then, I sat people, and Raymond Lambert, who was the owner of All Jokes Aside.
Right, my fraternity brother, Kappa Alpha Psi.
My man had my back, right? So dude tells me to introduce the show one night. Now, I just been seeing people.
Yeah.
So, you know how niggas in Chicago was back then, niggas just starting to get a little money, and they was acting a little real brand new and shit. So I come in and I see somebody, and this chick will be treat me like shit, and he be looking down on me. So when I go on stage, this was not planned. Right. I walk on stage and I look to my left where the audience was, and when I got up on the stage to introduce Raymond, I heard an audible gasp. Because nobody knew that the dude seating people was gonna be on stage.
Right.
So all them people who were shitty to me while I was seating them, I just started going in. That coat ain't shit. Yo, I'm just talking about for the
crowd
first 30 seconds. Man, people just going crazy. And then I introduced Raymond, and Raymond would introduce George. And it would be incredible. Yeah. At that point, they didn't have alcohol, so everybody was sober. So you was reaching down deep to get them laughs. Yeah. And then, and back then they didn't have no liquor license, so they were serving clearly Canadian and soda and juice and stuff.
And you had to bring your own liquor, or
no, you wasn't supposed to. People did it anyway.
Yeah, of course. So this Chicago.
They didn't know what they were doing back then. They had these huge banquet tables, and people would have to sit with people that they didn't know. Right. And sometimes the sight line wasn't right because the Loftorium Muse had these long pillars that held the building up. Right. So after we would sell out, and I'd be like, only thing I got left is obstructive view seating. And people be like, I'll take that. And then you give them the obstructive view seating. Man, I can't see shit. I'm like, dude, I told you. Girl, this is what was left. Yeah. And then it was, man, it would be, everyone would be there. I'm saying everybody that was in comedy was there. Right. Like, and other people, celebrities started showing up. Yeah. Like one night, I think Joe Torre was there.
Okay, as the headliner.
Huh? Yeah, Joe Torre was headlining. Yeah. The weekend Joe Torre came, a bunch of people showed up. Like Jamie Foxx was walking around. Yeah. And so was Holly Berry. Ooh. And Jamie Foxx was hilarious then. He was looking at Holly Berry like, I just want to make some friends. I
wonder if he ever hit. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know if he did, but he sure was trying. And then Martin Lawrence was sitting in the front of the audience, and Joe Torre started hitting him. And Martin couldn't handle it. He was like, hey man, give me a mic. And Joe Torre like, sit your ass down. Right. You know what I'm saying? It was just amazing every week, man. One week Tommy Hitman Hearn showed up at All Jokes
Oh,
Aside in the old.
nice.
Everybody was there. Everybody was
I know
there.
I remember I worked there when I was there before I ever really stepped on the stage. Jordan came in. Phyllis Hyman had been there, but I think around then she was dating one of the Bears, and then all the Bears used to come in. One time,
I was the reason that the Bears came. I was the reason that I went to school with Chris Zorch.
Oh yeah.
And I was standing outside the club. Now George hung out with them. They was boys with George.
Yeah.
But I was the reason that they came. I was standing outside the club and I seen him walk past. I was like, hey man, I do stand up now. Won't you come in here? Now we wasn't boys like that, but we knew each other from going to CVS together.
Yeah.
And he came in, brought some of the Bears players and kept coming.
Yeah.
Also, I was the reason that they started the Wednesday night open mic.
Really? Because that was my favorite part. I worked there. I worked every Wednesday because I loved it. And me and Damon became pretty close. I don't know. Damon is a strange bird. At times I'll be like, man, I love Damon. We close. And then you'd be like, I don't never get no love from that. You know what I'm saying? No real love, unless
Damon is a pretty dynamic dude. You know what I'm saying?
He's an incredible dude. He stays neutral with everybody.
Yep.
But sometimes you
find very few people to get on your. You're gonna find very few people who on Damon's bad side.
No, I don't know nobody on Damon's bad side. Corey Holcomb got there for a minute, but you know how Corey is. Corey,
Corey hate everybody at one point or another.
I don't think Corey was trying to be on his bad side. I think Corey was just being Corey. You know what I mean? And Damon and them didn't go. But yeah, man. So the Bears used to come. And you started that off because I know Big Cat Williams, man, was there a lot. That dude.
Yeah, he was. I thought Big Cat was gonna probably start doing stand up. He was out so much.
Yeah, and you know who else used to come? The dude who played for he played for New York Knicks. Anthony
Mason.
Yeah.
I used to see him quite a bit.
Yeah. I thought
before
y'all
he passed
was cool
away
back then. I thought you knew him was friends with him and shit.
I said hi and bye to him. He really wasn't into my kind of stand-up. It was a change in stand-up that happened around the mid-90s. The same thing with rap. When rap started to be a little more, less artistry, no disrespect to nobody, but when the anger in the community took over all entertainment, and it was kind of hard for anything else to see light. You know what I mean?
I respect that, yeah.
And so when that anger came, man, he was more of an anger dude than I was like Tootsie Tootsie, let's make America work type nigga.
Yeah, he did. You know who he liked? That's kind of middle ground in that? Leon. He loved.
Man, he was a huge fan of Leon.
Yeah, he loved Leon, and I love Leon. Leon's a great dude, but he ain't like fuck that. We gangsta. You know what I'm saying? Like Leon runs shit from a clever thug perspective, right? Leon gonna use words that you're gonna need a thesaurus for every now and again, just to let you know, motherfucker, I ain't dumb. I just don't take no shit. But Leon don't do. I guess he still do street, but he don't do thug. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. Yeah, he just. I love a lot of the shit he had this joke about Black Panther, man. You seen that? Nigga, that shit was golden. It was wonderful. I was like, God damn, I wish I had thought of that shit right there. If I was what I like about Leon that stands out is that if Leon tells you how a grape tastes, you're gonna taste the grape. You understand what I'm saying? That dude. So let's go back to you, man. I'll talk about Leon with Leon. Fuck that. I love Leon, but it's about Robert Hines right now, man. We want the people to know who you. So around the time that you were dealing with comedy and you were, you were hot, bro. I mean, it was crazy. I really didn't know how hot I was. Yeah, I really obviously you didn't. Obviously you didn't. Because I never would have stopped. Well, Who knows what would have happened though? Because we ain't seen Dose in years. I don't know what happened to him. So you didn't want to be Dose. I don't.
Fernando Johnson.
Right.
Fernando Johnson. Very funny dude.
Incredible funny. He won the first Miller, but man,
no, he didn't.
He didn't win that. He won one of them.
He won one. I think he won one, but I know. I don't know. He might have won the first one, but I just know the year that they said he won, he didn't. Bernie won that year. He won Bernie won in 1990.
Right. But when did Dose win?
I don't remember.
Okay. It don't matter anyway. My point is God put you
back
on
there.
The path.
He was around back then. Yeah, and he was hot. What wound up happening was like I was okay. Here's the interesting thing. If your family is working class, they expect you to work, right? Yeah. And I got the opportunity to work at the jail. At the same time, I was getting a whole lot of TV opportunities in stand-up, but they weren't consistent, right? So it wasn't like nobody offered me a TV show. What they offered me was a bunch of little shows that showed stand-up on television.
Yeah.
Before anybody else was getting them. Like I did the very first Comic View, me and B. Cole, and I want to say Alan Edge, but I don't know if it was Alan Edge, but I know me and B. Cole did it.
You going back on that name, boy.
Alan Edge still around, man. He coaching, acting, and everything. He cool.
Wow. In LA?
No, in Chicago.
What? I don't never see him. I don't never see nothing with his name on it. But I've stepped away. He ain't been in the scene, in the comedy scene for at least 20 years because I was fully, solidly in it between 2000 and 2018. And I ain't seen nothing from him.
I didn't mean that he was doing stand-up. I meant that he was active in the entertainment community. He still coaches acting and such like that. You know, like he's more of a thespian.
All right. Well, if you got his email, man, let me get it. I'd love to do a Chicago history like thing.
Alan Edge is very steep in that shit. Alan Edge was, he was higher level when I started. So Alan Edge is that dude. And so after all jokes aside, moved to the new location and they shot the TV shows. I got a chance to be a part of 2 of the shows that they were involved in. They think they were involved like 4. Okay. And I think I was in at least 2 of them. Right. When Sinbad came and they brought Comic Justice, got the chance to be on that. I got a chance to be on Comic View. And then there was a show in New York called Uptown Comedy Club. I got to be on that.
I remember.
And then that's where Tracy Morgan, that's the first time I met Tracy Morgan, was at Uptown Comedy Club. I was like 92, 93.
Yeah.
And then I took the job at the jail. This was interesting, man. Right before I took the job at the jail. Now, he may not remember it, but I'm telling you, D.L. Hughley used to come to All Jokes all the time at the new building.
Yeah.
And right before I started at the jail, D.L. Hughley like, hey, man, I hear you thinking about taking the job. Be careful with that because these people looking at you. Yeah. Now, I didn't know what he meant by that. Like, because ain't nobody gave me no money. I got to take this job. My family working class. Right. And my father never wanted me to be a stand-up. Like, dude, and when I was 16, I would call up radio stations and do voices.
Yeah.
And he was like, keep that stupid shit off my phone. So he really wasn't about the entertainment. Yeah. Like, get you a job.
Right.
And my father, pretty violent dude. So my uncle's like, hey, the jail hiring. My father's like, you better go get that good government job. Right. When I told him I was going to leave, he got mad. He was like, wait a minute. You going to quit a job where you get to beat a nigga up, carry a pistol, and beat a nigga up? Shit. They got some old motherfuckers need to get beat up. I'll go down there and work that job. My father fought in the streets. My father, 92. He fought in the streets till he was 80.
Damn. Is he still alive?
He's still on niggas.
He's still alive?
He's still alive. He ain't what he used to be.
Yeah. His jab a little slow now.
He on a walker and try to be tough on the walker. Nigga, this is hilarious.
Hilarious, man.
He walks up on me on his walker, and then he pushed me, and he was like, you see how you went back when I put my hands on you? I was like, I went back to keep you from falling.
I love it, man.
He'll be 93. Chicago. He'll be 93 in April.
That's great, man. That's nice.
So after we left,
so you started. Then you got started with the jail, And of course, like we've seen 100 times, 1,000 times, once you get them real jobs, your stage time decrease, your ability to perform somewhere else decreases, and eventually the tiredness from coming home from work or whatever brings you to not performing once a month, then once every 3 months, and then you disappear. So what happened
what
from my
happened for me though?
perspective?
I got very fortunate in that for a little while. First of all, I couldn't work in the training part. You work the day shift, so I worked the day shift for a little while,
Right.
and then the 3 to 11, and then I had Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. But when I got back, I was on 3 to 11 for about 2 years, so I was very sparse in the community.
Right.
But I did, when I started working days again, there was a chick named Pat McGill.
I remember
who had a show on 79th and Exchange. And for 7 years, I emceed her show. For 7
very cool.
years. I would go in there and I would have new stuff every week based on what the week offered. So it gave me a chance to keep my chops up.
Okay.
And so when I came back to stand up, it was not that hard a transition. However, once you leave, and I left to go be the police. Yeah. So a lot of people wasn't messing with me no more in the car. I had to go work on the white circuit, man. I had to go work.
Yeah, that's one of the first times that I really was able to embrace what you do was at the Lakeshore Theater. You know what I mean? You remember those days? And I'd be like, oh, Rob Hines is on the marquee. You know what I'm saying? And then I was, they welcomed me in there. The Lakeshore Theater was actually pretty big for what it was back then. And in fact, the Laugh Factory is the exact same format.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Same building.
Yeah, they took the space and renovated it a little bit. And now it's flourishing as the Laugh Factory. But back then it was the Lakeshore Theater. And I remember you were one of the few Black folks that I saw that, especially from Chicago, that was actually getting theater level acceptance, right?
Yeah, that was crazy. You're right, man. I never even noticed that. It was a bunch of white folks around.
I'm a student of this before I even stepped on stage. You know what I mean? I remember the first time when Chris Rock was on the Johnny Carson show. You know what I'm saying? When they were like, don't say anything about his Black granddaughter. And that motherfucker walked up to the mic and said, Johnny Carson got a Black granddaughter. Bam, Tide commercial. I think it was a Dawn commercial. But yeah, I'm a student of this, man. So when I used to be able to see you do your thing, and then at that time, we weren't as cool as we are now. But back then, you were still cordial. You were Rob Hines. You weren't unapproachable. You know what I mean?
It ain't shit. It ain't, you know what I'm saying? This plus $5 get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because, I grew up in Inglewood. Yeah. Inglewood was very good to me as an individual. Like people talk about the hood, but back then those gangsters were different. They weren't like, it was an honor code to it. Like if it looked like this little nigga could make it, we're gonna treat him like that. Yeah. Right. So he ain't gotta take part in the dumb shit. Right. And we'll still protect him. It was amazing being in Inglewood at that point, at least for me. It was other niggas had to do the dummy, but not me. They was cool with me, That's
true, man. Back then, I think cats who was in that side of the crime life, man, they had integrity and they weren't cowards.
They were not.
They were not afraid of somebody saying, something like, why you babying this little boy? You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, motherfuckers get so scared that somebody gonna say something to them that they make a lot of mistakes for our community.
Absolutely. It was not back then. It was about making a living, right? Yeah, these was guys that were not gonna be hungry. My next door neighbor was a pimp that sold weed. You dig what I'm saying? This nigga was he was a Black gangster disciple. Back then, it was all one thing. They broke all the shit up. Yeah, Black gangster disciple, and his rank in the gang was boss pimp. You dig?
Right. That's funny.
This is a different group of dudes, Yeah. And those dudes didn't shoot as much. Those dudes like to fight.
Yeah.
you got to be a certain type of nigga to walk in the room like, who want it?
Right. We can go outside, or we can do it right here. It's your choice. You make the choice.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, you know, let's find out who the best man is. You know what I mean? And then afterwards, the nigga that lost would go home, clean up, and just be out the next week, and everybody would snicker at him.
Right. Or buy a drink, and we finish the conversation. Right. It was true manliness, man. True manhood, man. None of this this fearful, cowardly, you know, I don't know. I that's how I feel about it. I just I may be wrong. I mean, it's probably really hard to take a man's life.
There is an open spectrum of what manhood presents as.
Exactly.
You know,
so it's cool. So let's get back to it, man. So you're so you had become the police, and of course most of the people didn't want to mess with you. We didn't really know how well the cocaine was in the community if you weren't into the cocaine or the dirty side. So you got kind of pushed off into the non-black side, which some people don't know how segregated comedy really is.
It is amazingly segregated.
Yeah, and so you started getting gigs on the north side, let's just put it like that, of Chicago. So what was that experience like?
It was liberating. The reason it was liberating is because you get to say things that you wouldn't get to say in front of a black crowd. Right. Like there is risks that you could take that black people look at you like, what? Like, I'm gonna give you an example. You remember Rodney Winfield?
Very much so. Yeah.
Rodney Winfield was funny as fuck. Like Rodney Winfield was a beast. One
of the greatest stage personalities, including character, that I've seen.
Chop.
Exactly.
Like, he would hit a punchline. You know, I can't throw a rock in a playground without hitting one of my kids. And then everybody started laughing. He'd be like, chop.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw Rodney Winfield at the old All Jokes Aside stand on stage and say, fuck God.
Ooh, yeah. In front of black folks.
In front of a room full of black folks that wasn't drunk.
Yeah.
Man, motherfuckers started, squirming and shit and feeling uncomfortable. Now, he eventually roped them back in with fuck white folks, but when you lead with fuck God, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One night I saw Rodney, I was there. And you remember, I don't know, Daniel Gardner. You remember Daniel Gardner?
Of course I remember Daniel Gardner, man. He grew up in my neighborhood. We used to hoop together as kids. His older brother, Wiley, and his other brother, John, were sort of, I won't say mentors, but we used to play basketball every day together. And John went to California, got killed. Because he came to Chicago. He came to California with that Chicago shit.
Yeah.
He tried to knuckle up. And they was like, oh, that's what you want to do. Bop! And they
wow.
That was the earliest part of where, and it was probably like 84 that John got killed. I remember it was day, because me and Wiley was close. We used to hoop, well, you know, for what it was worth, we used to hoop almost every day. And he was a chubbier dude, but that motherfucker had game, bro.
Yeah.
Man, Wiley had game, bro. It was, boom, send you home. Game. Wiley.
Well,
ask Danny Gardner about his brother, man. See what he say, brother Kahoot. I wonder what happened to his brother. Anyway, go ahead, finish the story. I'm sorry.
I don't think they get along, but Danny was in the back, and Danny was a Muslim.
Yeah. Okay.
And Danny was in the back praying, and he was on his knees.
Yeah.
And fucking so dude come around like, hey, while you're down there, why don't you suck this dick? Shit, make yourself useful. This man praying to his God.
Yeah.
And he walked by. This was so funny. You know, they had that designer pizza joint where they'll put giant stalks of broccoli on a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
And, you know, Raymond then would order that old exotic shit at the time. And this motherfucker stand there with designer piece of pizza as he tell a dude to suck his dick while he's praying. I was like, damn.
Hey, Rodney Winfield, man. That is.
Hey, look, let me tell you one more Rodney Winfield story.
You can tell me 5 of them, nigga. Tell me. I'm listening.
So they had Rodney Whitfield they had this they had these police, off-duty police, that would be security at All Jokes Aside. And one dude, Skip them, but this wasn't Skip. I don't remember this dude's name, but he was one of the leaders of it. Like it was a chick that started the security that was there, and he was one of the leaders of those. I can't even remember his name, but he was really cool dude. So he was standing out front, and Rodney walks up to him like, "Hey, which one of you niggas could get me some cocaine?" And I go, "Hey man, Rodney, them dudes are the police." He was like, "Hell, them niggas know where to get the best cocaine. Niggas go get me some cocaine." He said,
and you know what? The future told true, because at least 3 of them, including Skip, got arrested for shaking down drug dealers and keeping the money. Skip was investigated. I think he might have been one of a bunch of niggas that was police out west. So
but Skip wasn't Skip that night, but I could believe Skip was swerving a little bit.
Yes, Skip was
cool as hell, man. I ain't never had no issue with Skip. As a matter of fact, Skip was my boy. I love Skip.
Skip was the man. Yep.
Skip used to manage a group called the Lighter Side of Darkness back in the day.
Oh, okay.
I think they made a song called Love Jones.
I don't know nothing about that, but I know he ended up getting that one little Asian chick that was working at All Jokes Aside. I forget her name. She was pretty too, boy. But Skip was like, "Come here, I got to get the joke on." He had a curl and everything, man. He was a straight up West Side ass nigga with a bag, boy. You can't take nothing from Skip, boy. He played that Chicago role, bro.
You remember Dave Edwards?
Of course, I remember Dave Edwards.
Dave just had a show. Dave just came back with the new Real World.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was in an episode of like the second episode. I was on it.
Okay.
And
you want to? Well, let's not skip over your part, man. We keep getting varied from the Chicago shit because it's interesting. But here we are with Robert Hines, right? Robert Hines is now crossing into the crossing over somewhat. You know what I mean? Not in some ways. So where were some of the clubs on the north side that you used to go to back then?
Oh my God, it was so many of them. But the north side clubs, let me tell you what the north side clubs served as for me. It got me into the Yoder agency.
Okay.
Because other people that worked for Yoder started to mention me. So when I finally got, and Mike, the actual owner of the Yoder, Mike Yoder was pretty cool to me. But what Jameson and I really didn't gel too well, but he had another brother that I was pretty cool with. Eric and I used to hang out from time to time. But what wound up happening was that as John Yoder stopped being as functional, my dates start to wane a little bit. Oh, okay. Because I could call John Yoder and he's like, "Robert, yeah, I'll give you 5 or 6 dates," you know what I mean? And he'd fill up my month, you know. Yeah. And the reason that happened is because at first I would feature, and the one who actually got me in was this dude named Naughton. Remember Naughton? His last name was Naughton. His first name, what was his first name? God damn, I can't think of his first name, but his last name was Naughton. And Naughton was one of those comics that was strong and funny, and he was an Irish white boy, and he used to do this thing about "don't make me snap," and there was so much energy in the room that he didn't mind me going before him. Yeah, like he could handle me going, because at first nobody wanted to work with me. Yeah, and so he brought me in, and once he brought me in, they started to put me with other people. Yeah. Now, when they started putting me with other people, they had to promote me because them other dudes didn't want to see me coming. Now, there's a few dudes that could handle it, like some white boys who was lifting comedy weights, you know what I mean? And they wasn't scared, but a lot of them dudes was kind of hood adjacent. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like they kind of had a hood swagger to them. Right. But for the most part, I would come in there. At first, I was worried. I would go home. I'm like, "Hey, Renee." I'm talking to my wife, Renee. Yeah. And I'd be like, "Hey, Renee, I don't know if they're going to keep me on because these dudes can't follow me." Right. And she was like, I was like, "Maybe I need to slow down a little bit." She was like, "Don't you do it. You better dump hot shit on their plate every night." And it got to the point like where I would go in there and I would leave the stage. And when the show was over with and the headline would be through, the crowd would walk over to me more than they walk over to him.
Yeah, that's a very
Or
big
people walk
sign.
past and say some shit like, "You was better than the last dude. You should have won last."
Yeah.
Now, I'm dumping 20, 25 minutes of heat in your lap.
Yeah.
And then I sit down and everybody start not listening to you. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like it just get really weird. And you got to do 45 minutes.
Right. And
so they had to promote me. So once they started promoting me, they started sending me to the same places all the time.
Right.
And it was places that was really hard. Places that nobody wants. South Dakota and shit.
Yeah.
Fucking shit like that. And after a while, man, I just started being so good at it that it didn't matter where they sent me. They sent me to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. They would send me anywhere.
Right.
And then, and man, dude, it would be weird. Like it would be weird in that this is gonna be interesting to tell you, but it would be times where I would be sexually harassed.
All right, good for you, man. I love it.
Dude, it was scary as hell.
By women or by
men? By women.
Yeah.
By women. I ain't never had no dude walk up. I don't think a dude could sexually harass me because if I ain't gonna fuck, I'm gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't really feel like too many people gonna take my booty. You know
I don't think it's a rape situation.
Yeah, back then, I mean, because if I'm gonna go up, I'm not gonna go. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't you ain't gonna push on me.
Yeah.
At least back then I wasn't. I'm not taking no dick now. Don't get me wrong. I'm just old. I can't punch like I used to.
Hollywood changes people.
I was just saying I was quick to fight back then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I keep somebody up. So I ain't never been sexually harassed by a dude.
Right.
But these chicks, man, and it was and back, dude, I was very afraid. Like I wasn't afraid of my presence. Like I wasn't afraid of nobody fucking with me. What I was afraid of is some white girl wanting to bone and then tell somebody I did something that I didn't do.
Called rape, yeah.
Man, so I would never go out with these chicks, wouldn't do nothing because I saw them as a problem. I did not see them as party favors. I saw them as a problem.
Gotcha.
And it was obvious. And sometimes when you go to places that they don't see very many black people, they be like this one chick was like, take it out. I want to see it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, see what? I'm the only nigga in the zip code. I ain't finna take my dick out here. Shit. I'm going back to the hotel and pray that don't know a whole bunch of torches come in the night.
Well, you know what that is, right? That's a twofold thing, right? That is there's an innate fear that has been indoctrinated into us as black men of white people, and especially white women who may do that yell for rape thing. The other part of this is missed opportunity. That's what that was. Because you could have scored. I had a lot of road pussy. I did. I can't even lie. It was a lot of fun. Sometimes it was weird, but yeah, you missed some opportunities, and hey, man, that's God's
I mean, I feel like I got my fair share of what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't, man. I listen. You're not finna fuck me up. You're not finna imitate my ass. You know what I'm saying? If you get me, you're gonna get me on some shit that has nothing to do with that. Because after the show, I'm going back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Very few times I hung out. I remember when I first started doing stand up. Evan Lionel took me to Miami. Ooh. And we went to a strip club. Now, look, I didn't want to go. I was like, hey, man, I'm going to stay in my room. He was like, Rob, if you don't come with me, I'm a bad mouth you to everybody in the comedy community. He was the first dude. I see that dude pull a stripper at a strip club.
Nice.
Who does that?
Hey, man, shit. And he wasn't paying them money. You know
hell no. Hell no. They was following him like ducks. Yeah. Follow like a mama duck, lead baby ducks. That's how it was.
Yeah.
But after I got done working that circuit, after I wasn't really done. What happened was I had started to get sick. And, because man, I weighed a lot. But before, as I was getting sick, it was about 2008. I was starting to lose function in my kidneys. And
okay.
Dude, I was very, very unhappy. The jail was wearing me. Like in 2000, I left the jail 2003. I worked from 1994 to 2003, almost 10 years.
Okay.
And in that time, I gained 70 pounds. So I went from about where I am now. I'm about 220 right now.
Okay.
I went from 220 to like 270, 290. right in there. And a lot of it had to do with how much I hated the jail. Like I hated everything about it. I hated the fact that they wanted me to fight black people, and they really, really want you to fight black people. Now, it's ways that you can get through it, but not in the first year that you work there.
Right.
Because in the first year that you work there, they could fire you at any given time.
Damn. Okay.
So when they tell you to beat a motherfucker up, you gotta beat that motherfucker up.
And they've actually verbally said, go in there and beat that dude up.
Yes.
Wow.
It would be something like, all right, go in there and do that dude. Go in there and do them. Because they had done something that was really not worth it. Most of the time, because here's the fact of the matter. When I worked at the jail, I can't tell you what it's like now. Yeah. When I worked at the jail, it was 99, 95% of the time, inmates fight each other.
Right.
The brothers would fight. And they would tell you, when you go to stop a fight, don't go in there at first. Yeah. Just let them keep fighting until they get tired. It don't take that long to get tired in the fight.
Yeah, that's not a bad
this fight might last 3 minutes. Yeah. If you're lucky.
Right.
A riot, a tier fight where it's like the Civil War, they just throwing shit on battle lines. Yeah. Will last less. As soon as you pop the door, everybody hitting the floor because they've been waiting on you. Right? So you ain't really gotta wait. Like, soon as you pop the door and you go in, on the floor. And I look, thing is, back then, the jail was in transition. Okay, this is some interesting shit that I'm
Let's do it.
I don't know if you remember, but back in 1994 is when I started in the jail. I started in February 94. They passed the crime bill in July of 94.
Ooh. Wow.
Now, here's what happened. They knew they was going to pass this crime bill. They knew this was going to happen because these people planned ahead of time. Right. It was a whole bunch of outsourcing going on in the early 90s. Remember, it was economic issues and all types of shit. Yeah. So what they did was what they always do. They found a way to make black people pay for white folks' lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So what they started doing is they started locking people up massively off the crack epidemic. And black people were begging for help because dudes was back then, you had to go to the currency exchange to get your check, your social security check, and dudes was getting robbed. Dudes was robbing old ladies at the currency exchange. Right. So I'm giving you this bit of texturizing because everybody could say that Clinton passed the crime bill and it was fucked up, but a lot of black people voted
for it. Yeah, it was
because they didn't know what to expect. They didn't know it was going to be like that. What they knew was my grandmama can't go get her check.
Right. And people breaking into my garage. It's crack. It's got a neighborhood.
Now, all of that shit started with Reagan. Yeah. Reagan brought drugs into the community to finance some shit that was going on in Central America.
Right. Documented truth right there. Yeah.
And so now in 1994, all these white folks ain't got jobs like they used to have. Right. Right. So they got to find a place to put them. So they put them in a jail. And when them white boys start coming into jail, the whole complexion of the place, like the way things ran, became different. Okay. And they started grouping up and abusing inmates. Like they would go in and tear up your commissary. Like dudes had to do a lot of stuff with a little, right? Yeah. And when it was just black dudes, we just sit in there and kick it. But more white folks started coming, and then it started being fights all the time. Okay. And it started to be abuse. Like you got to do your laundry sometime in the toilet. Yeah. Right. And these guys would have their laundry in the toilet, like they t-shirts and shit. And these motherfuckers would pour Kool-Aid, would go into your commissary, take your Kool-Aid, pour it in the toilet, and make your shirts pink. Yeah. Little dumb shit like that. So eventually, people stopped taking it. And one time I was involved in a riot.
Okay, what was that like? What was, first of all, what was it over? Why did it start?
We were searching every day of the week. Every day we were searching, and these white boys was doing that shit, tearing up your cookies and stuff like that. And these guys got tired of it, and it was happened to be the tier that I was working on. Right. And these guys knew me. We was good. We was cool, but people got tired of their shit getting fucked up. So when we go in and search, when the officers leave, the inmates don't go back into their cell. They all sit in the day room. Yeah. And then they disperse together. So they know that another inmate didn't do this. Yeah. And so when the brothers went in and searched their shit and talked about how fucked up it was, they came back, Hines, get us a white shirt. We better tear this bitch. So I called my supervisor. He come down and they start throwing shit at him through the gate. Like they was upset. So he called for all available and everybody came down there. Now we had 79 guys in the place that slept 44, 45. So this guy sleeping in the day room. It's 3 people to a cell. It is madness. Yeah. And it was only about 26 men on the shift.
Okay.
And out of that 26, only about maybe 8 of them could actually fight. So we about to go in and get massacred. It's about to be fucked up, right? And the dudes that started the shit, they try to line you up tallest to shortest when they go in, because you only could go in through 2 choke points, right? So you go in tallest to shortest and you walk in there and you start fighting, right? Well, what winds up, they was going to take half the guys and send them to the upstairs and then the bottom was going to be at the bottom. That means that your force is going to be even thinner when you go in there. Right. So when we get ready to go in, this sergeant who was a little afraid, and he was like, "Hey, we gonna go in without sticks and shields?" And the dude lieutenant's like, "All right." He was Irish. The lieutenant was like, "All right, you want sticks and 6 shields? Let's go get sticks and shields." So we go get sticks and shields. Now it's a big picture window. Yeah. So these guys see us walk up with all this riot gear and shit on. They clear out the day room. They come back out, mattresses draped over them. They got swords that they made out of food carts. It's about to happen. It is ugly. Right. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, if I got to go in here and fight, I'm going to see if I can't handle 3 dudes. You know, I'm going to hit my dude, try to knock him out. Then I'm trying to hit, it's going to have to be, I'm going to have to fight 3 dudes because it's way more. And it would have been more than that because half these motherfuckers wasn't going to fight. Right. The same motherfuckers that started this shit is in the back of the line, not where they supposed to be. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go back where the real niggas that fight at. I'm going to stick with them motherfuckers and I'm going to form a bond with them. Yeah. We're going to form a little triangle and just start fighting niggas off. This is in my mind how it's going to work. So I'm standing with the niggas that fight. Now, I'm not as tall as them, but I'm standing with them like, all right, we're going to go in here. We get ready to go in, man. And I'm saying it was like being on the Maxwell Street Market back in the 70s. It was like tumbleweed newspapers and shit. It was, and they had poured shit on the floor. So when we came in there, we could slip and fall. It was going down. Right. Just as we was about to go in, the chief of the whole compound, little bitty motherfucker named Glasgow, curly hair, he comes in, he's like, "Oh, what the fuck y'all doing?" Because we was about to go in. We had went through the first door, about to go into the actual interlock into the second door. Yeah. He came, he's like, "Get the fuck out of here. It ain't enough of you niggas." And he just started clearing everybody out. Yeah. And he was like, "Get rid of all them shields and shit. Go put that shit up." And he was like, "Who working here?" I was like, "Me, sir." He was like, "You the only nigga I need. Rest of y'all get the fuck out of here." And everybody else left. He walked in there by himself. Damn. These motherfuckers got swords and shit, and he walks in and he stands on the table. Yeah. And he started talking, and by the time he got through talking, they signed a class action grievance. Yeah. And they changed the superintendent. That's how powerful this dude. He went in there, and every nigga in there signed a piece of paper and didn't murder nobody. Yeah. And within a couple of weeks, we had a new boss of the building. Okay, I heard that. What you say his name was? Glasgow? Glasgow. Okay, do you have those were some real motherfuckers? Where he at? I don't know where he is now, but that dude saved my life. It would be other dudes that was cool as hell, that was bosses that you want to be around. Yeah. But for the most part, the bosses was kind of bitches. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a bunch of bitches. Yeah. Man, that dude. It was one dude, man. This dude was funny as hell. This motherfucker had to weigh 400 pounds. And he would come in like he might have been boning a chicken in my building, because you got run of the whole compound. Yeah. Why is this chief standing around my building? Right. He was probably boning the chicken in the building. So one day I'll be sitting down in the lobby and waiting for shift change, and he'll come up to me and talk to me. Didn't know me from Adam. He just liked my face. And he walk up and be like, "Hey, you know something, young blood? I don't never run out of money. I only run out of cutie pies to spit it on."
Yeah, man. We don't have them type of men no more.
Don't have them type of dudes,
Yeah.
man. Man's men. Other dudes be like, now that nigga cool.
Yeah, exactly, man. What happened to those type of men, man?
Man, we just gotta. Hey, it ain't many of us left. We just gotta keep,
Yeah.
keep the tradition going.
Yeah, buddy, bro.
So then, eventually, what winds up happening is that by the time I'm through with I wasn't through with stand up. I was still working it, but I started to get sick, and I did this Toby Jones thing. 2008, 2007, 2008.
Okay.
And the first one was called Jones Big Ass Truck Rental and Storage Facility.
I remember that shit was super dope, man. I was funny as hell. So how did you, first of all, the cats who were involved with that were like side comic type dudes. I remember that. They would stand around the comedy area when comics was coming in and out and doing things.
They were,
I think a few of them tried to get on stage, but most of them were. Give me the readout of these dudes, man. What, honest and fair.
It was 8 of them. Yeah. They were called Big Dog Eat Child.
Yeah.
And they
eat child or child?
Child. Eat child. Big Dog Eat Child.
Okay.
And they were a sketch group. A few of them tried their hands at stand-up, but they was for the most part a sketch group. And they had made up a character that they couldn't make work. And they saw me playing in a coffee house in Naperville one night. Yeah. And it was like, hey man, can you, and so I do the character. But I don't, at the very first one, it was called Jones Big Ass Truck Rental and Storage. And I was 320 pounds. And in my mind, it was a hard sell character. So I based the character on Don D.C. Curry. I had never seen, Don D.C. Curry in my mind game was so tight.
Yeah,
because when he talked, he don't leave any space for nobody else to think, right? Yeah. So in my mind, that's who I am.
Yeah.
And I started talking like I felt Don DC would talk, and I didn't stop. And they just kept taping it, and they would give me scenarios, and so what wound up happening is that there's one scene in there where at the end of the video where you see me kind of sit down because I'm exhausted. That was the kidney disease kicking in. Like I just didn't have no more to give, man. I was darker then because my body wasn't processing, the waste properly.
Right.
And I had eaten so very badly. I really was killing myself with a fork.
Okay.
And so after I got sick and I had to be on dialysis, I was still doing stand-up.
Yeah.
But I was only working 2 or 3 months out the year because it got to be to a place where I couldn't get dialysis in the places that I was going.
Okay.
And by that time, when I moved to LA in 2012, I was only coming back to the Midwest every now and again to do some comedy. And things out here in LA was moving so slow because, again, there's only so much I could physically do.
Yeah.
And then right before the pandemic, 2019, February, I got a new kidney.
Oh, yeah. I remember that, man. That was awesome, bro.
Yeah. Now I'm working all the time, getting out as much as I can. With this pandemic shit, though, I still got to, once this shit is truly over, because this variant is probably going to come back again. They got another variant. Yeah. And it's gonna run wild. So it's gonna be some ups and some downs again. So let's see how we deal with the fall, but it ain't looking too good, man. It looks like it's about to jump off again. Yeah, let's hope. Well, we know how to deal with it now a little bit better and all of that. So it's what it is, man. So that's awesome, bro. That part I remember because we did the second one based on the popularity of the first one. Yeah. And the thing that the key to all of them was having a phone number that people could actually call. Right. Okay. And people didn't believe it. And this was when YouTube was in its infancy. It was really popular, but people really didn't know what to do with it then. Right. And it was so crazy that when they released the first video in like November of 2007, by December it had 500,000 hits. Now that was a big deal back then because there wasn't many people on YouTube. Right. And then they was like, we got to do a second one. And I don't remember who said it, but we were in the basement trying to come up with names. I wanted to do this thing that was like a church and a strip club. And then somebody was like, what if we do Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage? And I was like, it can't just be Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage. It got to be Jones Good Ass Barbecue and Foot Massage. Yeah. And then that's what we walked out because we were having a party in my basement for the 500,000 hits. Yeah. And Google Google, the actual Google people called me.
Wow.
And asked me if I wanted to advertise my business on Google. This is back in 2008.
Right.
So then we released the second one in 2008, and it was cool. It was going well. It was popular, but the first one was still kicking ass.
Yeah.
Then what weird thing happened is that we came up with the third one, but by that point, people knew what the gig was, knew that the joke, because people didn't know it was a joke at first. People actually thought that all of those businesses were legitimate.
We're real.
So by the time we did the third one, it was my favorite, but it didn't do as well because people kind of knew the joke.
Yeah.
But it was called, the first one was called Jones Big Ass Truck Rental and Storage Facility. Yeah. The second one was called Jones Good Ass Barbecue and Foot Massage. It had a jingle with the phone number. And the last one was called Jones
Barbecue and Foot Massage.
Yeah. The third one was called Jones Cheap Ass Prepaid Legal and Daycare Academy. So
oh wow,
the second one, yeah, it's, if you look for it, it's pretty funny to me. Yeah. The second one, the reason that it was so popular is not only was it a jingle, but every time barbecue season would come around, people started watching it again.
Yeah.
So then about 2014, Steph Curry. Okay, so here's what happened. Shaquille O'Neal used to talk about this thing called fried chicken.
Yeah.
It's when a big dude his size is trying to guard a little dude.
Yeah.
Now Shaq could stick a motherfucker or two, but not everybody could do it.
Right.
And so he's like, yeah, you get those big dudes trying to guard those little dudes, and that fried chicken happen. Meaning you cross them over and go to the basket.
Yeah, shake them up.
Yeah. So
shake and bake.
He started talking about that. And Steph Curry started doing this dance before every playoff game.
Yeah.
Jones Barbecue and Foot to the jingle. Jones Barbecue. And he do a little dance. Well, that started, and now I can't tell you the direct way that it happened, but this is the chronological order in which that shit started.
Yeah.
The Laugh Out Loud was a Facebook page. It was a Facebook space. It was something that Kevin Hart created, Laugh Out Loud on Facebook.
Right.
So he posted Jones Barbecue on his Laugh Out Loud channel.
Yeah. And
when he did that, people started watching it really quickly. Now, it already had, 5-6 million people watching it, but all of a sudden it had just took off behind, might have been as many as 10 million.
Right.
And then when he did that, Steph Curry seen it, I had to imagine, because everybody was watching it then again. Yeah. And that got me on Good Morning America. In 2015, I did a pilot for a TV show called Toby Makes a Million. Oh, I will send you a copy of it.
I love it, brother. Yeah, let me see a copy of that. That's great.
And that started because Kevin Hart, who's never met me, didn't know me, he just posted it like, I don't know if this place is real or not, but if it isn't, I'd love to go there. I mean, if it is, I'd love to go there. And if it isn't, this guy is brilliant. Yeah. And when he said that, people started, my inbox started filling up and everything. And then I did the pilot, but it didn't. When we had dude, I've had so many of those heartbreak meetings where it's about to pop and then something happens. Yeah. In 2015, we were doing that pilot. When we got done with the pilot, MTV2 was about to buy it. Right. And they called me and said that they fired everybody at MTV2.
Damn. Ooh.
I lost my gig. And this happened several times over the years. And then, and so now, so after that,
what's crazy, hey, look how God worked, right? I have a friend of mine that I met through business, right? And he owns a channel, and he just asked me, do I have any more content that I could, because I had sold him content. I sold him, you remember Willie and Woody, the guy with the puppets? I sold him an array of that guy's content. He put it on his show. So if you want to he ain't got to hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? You give him a limited contract, but you can get some paper out of that if you want to put it up.
We could definitely do that. Definitely do that.
Yeah. Since you got a copy of do you own the,
I don't own any of it. All of it is owned by the production company and the channel.
Okay. But can you put it up places and?
Huh?
I don't know. We'll talk offline with that. But anyway, man, keep going, bro. This shit is so interesting because a lot of this I didn't know. You know, me and you would talk maybe once a month or once every 3 months or whatever. Yeah. And I'd be like, man, how's it treating you? And some of the times you'd be like, yeah, it's about to happen. And some of the times you'd be like, oh, it's just
I know, right? It happened so many times.
Yeah.
One time I had a meeting with a group of guys that produce a lot of popular TV shows. I'm not gonna say their names, but when I went into the meeting, actually one of them is starting to do something really powerful in comedy now out here in LA, but I ain't gonna go into no names. But the dude they having a meeting for me, and it's interesting. This is the thing that a lot of people don't understand about this industry. In order to get to where you want to go, sometimes you got to make compromise. Yeah. But some of that compromise is shocking. Okay, so when I went into this meeting.
Hold on, Rob. Ain't nobody touch you, Willie, did they?
No, not yet. I mean, it's not like if you could take it off the board. I mean, if it's gotta be done.
All right, go ahead. You went into the meeting.
And this dude shakes my hand and looks at me with this shit-eating grin. And I couldn't remember why I felt uncomfortable, but I did feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So after the meeting started, they started talking about me like I wasn't there. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like they started talking like, yeah, man, what if we send him down there with Tyler Perry? Well, I don't like that shit Tyler Perry's done. I don't know what the fuck that is. And they got notebooks out and they talking to me every now and again, but they talking to each other way more than they talking to me.
Yeah.
So the guy that I'm in the meeting with, the guy who helped me to get the meeting, when we leave, he's so excited. He was like, look, man, when these people give you your money, all I want you to do is to buy me a 69 Camaro. That's all. I don't want a percentage of your money or nothing. I just want a 60. I was like, what the fuck you mean? He was like, dude, I ain't never been in a meeting that went so well. Now, they not talking to me at all. Yeah. They just talking to each other. Yeah. But he said, man, I've been in meetings with real popular comics and they didn't come out with notepads. He was like, they have an idea of what they want to do with you. Yeah. And in the middle of the meeting, the guy who ran the company sticks his head in and he tells me, my brother loves you, who is another popular comic. He was like, we'll definitely get you a show. This is what he says as he sticks his head in the meeting. And he walks out. Now, back at that time, he was working with another, I guess I could say this. The Onion used to have a TV show.
Oh, I didn't know that, you know.
Yeah, they was producing a TV show for the Onion. I don't know if it ever came out, but this dude was involved in that production.
Okay.
And so he was on his way to that production. He was like, oh yeah, we can definitely give him a show. And then he walked out. So at this point, I'm thinking it's over with. Now, this was before I moved. This was like 2008 or something, right around there. And then the dude that was in charge of me left that company and went to Live Nation. And when he left and went to Live Nation, my interest waned. Nobody talked to me no more. They stopped calling me. Everything changed. Like people out here don't tell you no. They just don't talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
that's crazy. That sucks. And then when he went to Live Nation, he didn't put you in on any of that stuff. What was his?
No, I lost contact with him. Contact with him once he
left. What was his job in Live Nation?
I do not know. I do not know what he did in Live Nation. I just know that he was responsible for me. And when he left, all my interest left with him. And everything crumbled. And this happened several times. There were times where we had commercial opportunities that didn't work out based on things that had nothing to do with me. They wanted me, but because I don't own Toby Jones, the opportunities went away. So at this point, man, you know, it's been interesting because things are starting to pick up again. Things are starting to move in my direction.
Right.
So I have to navigate this carefully because I ain't young no more. And
no.
It's been really interesting, man. It's been, I got on TikTok because somebody asked me to.
Yeah.
And within a week or two, I had 100,000 followers in like a few days.
Wow. Was it the Toby Jones stuff or it was?
Yeah, it was the Toby Jones stuff. People wanted to see me.
Yeah.
And they didn't know where I was. So I went on TikTok. And within like the first weekend, I had 100,000 followers. It's just TikTok is for younger people.
Yeah.
You know, and so I have to.
No. It's not, it started off with the younger people, but now, man, it's everybody. In fact, it's more fun going through TikTok than it is going through Facebook now. Facebook
it is. I don't deny that. What I'm saying to you is
the
way TikTok works, it's not really, it's set up for anybody. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But you got to do These people want you to give them every thought you ever had. Like,
Yeah, there's some weird levels like that.
And it's not long. You see what I'm saying? You got 3 minutes.
Right.
Dude, I can entertain for an hour.
3-4 hours.
So we got to do these quick hits and shit. It take me 3 minutes to get on stage.
Right. I feel you with that, because I'm in the process of like even this one, I'm gonna splice it up and put it on Zoom. But I got about 40 to 50 interviews that I'm gonna add to TikTok. That's my plan. But I know exactly what you're saying. But what I will say is that the age cap is growing and going higher, because people kind of tired of the way Facebook is treating people, and and TikTok is more fun. You see all types of stuff, But go ahead, man. So you started your TikTok page. Is it?
Yeah, and then I got a few really popular creators. And we're working on some things that I can't let them out the bag yet, but because you don't know exactly what's gonna happen. Right. We got to establish a bunch of few other things, but it's some really cool creators that I'm working with that we're gonna probably put some things up real soon.
That's awesome, man. And then you and I have been currently working on touring. I'd love to be continue opening up for you. That's gonna be a lot of fun, man. We're gonna be
working all around this bitch, but we are particularly gonna be starting in some Midwestern rooms that we have reach with.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's gonna be a lot of fun, man. And so, what's your plans with that? You know what I mean? How what would you like this to look?
Well, I because podcasting is so very popular, I'm putting together a podcast, but I'm going to be on other people's podcasts like yours.
Yeah.
To talk about my new podcast that I'm working on right now.
Right.
Me and the wife are going to probably do a podcast together.
Oh, that's cool. I thought about it with my girl, but my girl's crazy as fuck, bro.
I mean, they women. They're gonna do what they want to do, no matter what the situation is. It's not about logic with them. It's about what they want at the time.
Yes.
But so that could be funny and
really
fun.
Interesting, man. I'm waiting to see you and your wife. I know your wife from you and being around Chicago, so that's gonna be really good. I love it.
Yeah, she is beautiful, but she is aggressive with it.
Well, no, I wasn't saying anything
inappropriate. No. I'm saying that's what she like. She got.
Well, she hood. She from the hood. She got some hood in her.
She from the middle class part of the hood.
Yeah, but she's also not relatively. She has an intellectual streak, and she has, what I'm saying. So this is going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting to see the hood, the hood take on female shit. Like,
that too. Yeah,
it's gonna be talk about weave and nails and shit. Like
now, what's the name? Do you have a name yet?
We're still working on it. We still haven't decided what. I think it's gonna be wind up being Hindsight.
Ah, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
You better go hurry up and go get the website name.
We
buy
already
it.
got
Yeah. Okay, I go buy it. Then charge you $100,000. I want 60% of the net. They used to do people like that.
Dude. Look. Bro, let me tell you something. To these young comics, when you start, before you start getting money, as soon as you can, copyright your name.
Yeah.
Because these motherfuckers will meet you in a meeting, and then before you know it, you don't own your name when you leave.
Right. But see, they can't do that no more. You know why? Because it's the internet has expanded beyond .com and .net. Now.
No, bro, you don't understand. That's not what I'm saying to you. Okay, Aaron Foster goes into a meeting. Aaron Foster got the hot new shit, cstandup.com. He goes into a meeting. They talk to him like they're going to give him a TV show. And when he leaves, they copyright Aaron Foster's name. Not his website, not the place where he's going to sit his shit on the internet. No, Aaron Foster now belongs to somebody else.
Oh,
not aaronfoster.com, your whole fucking name. So when you get ready to do the Aaron Foster show, you got to pay these motherfuckers to use your name.
Wow. Okay. Well, where's the copyright office at?
Prepare yourself, because they coming.
They slick.
They coming, man.
That's what happened to Dave Chappelle, right? That's what happened to Dave Chappelle.
Speaking of Dave Chappelle, like I said, I hung out with Dave Edwards a little bit. Got to do that show.
Yeah.
Dave was funny, man. Dave's an interesting dude, and this reality shit is really funny too, man.
Yeah.
It's,
Tell
they
us
just
about it,
capture.
man. So you went over it briefly with me a few months back, but tell me what was that? What happened? How was that?
Dave had right before they did the new Real World. You know, Dave was trying his best to stay young. You know, so Dave had all these old braids and shit. He was enjoying being Dave, and he got hit by a bus or some shit, a truck.
Yeah.
And it busted his head, his skull. They had to go into his skull and shit.
Damn.
So this is right after that, he gets the Real World reunion.
Yeah.
So that's why his hair is cut low. And so they wanted to establish why he looked different and what had happened. So he asked me to be in that. And they were showing how he was talking about how he had got run over and they left him for dead.
Damn.
Yep. And so that was my point of being in the show, to talk about. I was only in there for like a minute or two, but I was in the second episode of the reunion show. I was in it. And that show is interesting, like, because they can't get along no matter what, you know?
I think, and they not smart enough to know that the producers are pulling all the strings. You know what I mean? That's what it is. If they were smart, they'd be like, okay, well, either we gonna get along or we not gonna get along. But they not getting along, but trying to get along. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I think that they are the type of people that are like oil and water, right? And they use it. Sometimes it works and sometimes it's to their detriment. Okay, so this is what I mean by that. In the beginning of this shit, she did what she did, but he did what he did. You dig what I'm saying? And when they did what they did, neither one of them made a way for either of them to have a soft landing. Right. Now she's doing way better than he is because she had a bunch of reality shit she got to do after that. Yeah. Based on her connects. Right. But it just like this new one, okay, let me just say it like this. Let me put it to you this way. Everything has a cost, right? So if you do XYZ, it's going to cost you this. And what has happened is the cost of them being the way that they are. In the beginning, you know, when she said what she said about, you know, the whole rape thing. Yeah. Back then, it made her look like the bitch that fucked over the only nigga on the show. Right.
Well, now to certain people.
To a significant group of people.
Some people was like, yay, black people, they rape. You know what I mean? And
right. But even in that, that's not a complimentary way to be saw. No. So there is a cost for her being on that reality show because she turns out that they think that about her. Yeah. She can't just take thank you or I'm sorry. The focus gotta stay on her because that's how her money is made. Right. So if you watch the show, after Dave apologizes and it seems like it's gonna be all gravy in the Navy between the two of them, she gets mad because Dave starts to get some attention based on how his life went afterwards. Wow. Now, Dave shit was not easy. It's been rocky for him. Yeah. She had a TV show. She had several.
Oh, I didn't know that. I don't even remember
Basketball Wives.
Oh, okay. She was on Basketball Wives. Wow.
Yeah, she was on other reality.
What's her name? I don't remember her because
I don't know. You got to Google it. I don't. You know.
But I don't remember which chick she was. That's what it is.
I can't remember the lady's name, but the people who watch the shit, they know. I mean, I can Google it real quick. No. I'm saying like
it's not waste time.
Once they once that shit happened, so now as soon as he's starting to get a little sympathy, she's mad again because she wants the eyes back on her. Right. Now that puts them in a position to have to clash again. Yeah. Did you see the shit?
No. I didn't get a chance to see it.
It's on Paramount Plus. You'll find that they both are attention hogs. Okay. So she said something to set him off, and he took it way too far, but they deserve each other. This is the universe that they move in. Right. And it just became a whole new thing where he had to leave the show early again? Yes.
He had to leave the show early again.
Again, yes.
But he didn't touch her or nothing this time.
No. He left on his own.
This came full. But it didn't look like he touched her. They just pulled covers off each other.
Yeah, but you know, it was awkward. And it should have stopped well before it did, right? Yeah. But I'm saying the second time it happened, it was on Dave's accord. Dave decided, fuck y'all, I done had enough of this shit. I'm out.
Okay. All right.
So you have to watch it for yourself. But
Yeah.
it did come full circle. Last time they put him off. This time he just left.
Okay, but was that good for his career? I mean, only in the future we'll see, because being on any show is better than being on no show, especially in the stand-up world, right? Because all we need is to fill up the venues or to get hired by the people that gatekeep these venues. So if yeah, go ahead, I'm listening.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Okay.
I see he getting a lot of love on Instagram. He's getting a lot of love, because of the situation. You have to watch it, because I don't want to tell you it. I want you to see it. So go to Paramount Plus, check it out, man. Dude, it's really interesting, because I'm not a reality dude. I write, you know what I mean? I create shit. So I don't really need to create other people's shit, you know what I mean? But this thing was pretty interesting, not just because I was on it, but because I was on it, I got sucked in.
Yeah.
And it is a very interesting view on human behavior, if nothing else.
Okay. All of them kind of are, even those housewives of everything, right? It's the same way. Unfortunately, there is some manipulation from the producers. And then it seems to me, like you said, the people love the attention so much that they allow themselves to be manipulated in some really terrible ways.
Yep.
What the fuck?
God bless you. Everything got a cost. Everything got a cost.
Yeah.
Everything has a cost. So even if you don't want to do shit in life, that's got a cost. You're gonna live someplace that you might not want to live. You ain't got money. Yeah. Everything. You got to exchange something for everything.
Right.
And apparently she's cool with what she's doing, because she got a bunch of wigs and go out and change wigs, do her thing, And I don't have any judgment for any of it. I'm just saying, the way capitalism is set up and you black and you ain't have shit, you got to go get it. And the way to go get it, you got to give them something.
Yeah. Yeah. Of some level, time, energy, whatever. It's energy.
Everything has a cost.
I feel it. So are you and Dave still cool, or?
Oh, yeah, we real cool. I talk to him from time to time all the time. Yeah, we cool. We cool. Okay. I just thought that, for me, I've built up a reputation as being a certain type of dude.
Yeah.
And I like that reputation. I worked hard to get there. And there's certain shit I just I'm not interested in. And you got to take it for me. And again, no criticism for people who dig what they dig. It's not at all like that. It's just that it's not my thing,
Right.
Okay. Just like, pulling my dick out in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan for a white woman in the hallway. That ain't my dick. That ain't my gig. It's like,
I understand. And she was out of place for saying that to you. You know what I mean? I'm not sure why she was comfortable saying, here in public, pull your dick out. I want to see how long it is.
And then, look, Dick, this is why she said it. Because as I was walking out the theater, a lot of people hadn't come out yet, but we were still people in the hallway. Yeah. And she goes, I got an ass like a sister. And she pulls her pants down.
Shows you her ass?
Shows me her ass.
No pants.
And we walking past a closet, and she was like, take it out. And I was like, take out what? And she was like, take the dick. I want to see it. And I was like, no.
Yeah, no. That she was probably a trap. That bitch was giving out some disease. CIA
well, that night she didn't get to spread it, because I like, shit. Hell no. There will not be an Emmett Till moment for me if I got something to do with it. You dig?
Well, that's you bring that up quite often in our age group, man. That was actually terrifying, because we were about 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8. 9,
I wasn't
10,
born yet.
Jet recreated that, or when we would see the Jet. So the way it was in my life is periodically Jet would repost those pictures, and my family got Ebony and Jet every week, every month, and I would see those pictures, and it terrified me on certain levels. I was blessed in that at 4 years old, my mother had a really good job. We moved to the north side, so I interacted with white folks,
right?
On a higher level than a lot of people that were in my grandparents' neighborhood.
Right now, Emmett Till happened in the 50s.
Yeah,
so they just kept showing us that shit to keep us in our mind like this shit that could happen to you.
Yeah, and it could have been, it could have been by design on some levels, because we don't know. But what it did was it made Black men, young kids, grow up afraid to interact with white women, and it made mothers afraid to allow their children, on the most part, to interact with white women. And here's the biggest part that pisses me off. The bitch lied the whole time and admitted in her deathbed that she was lying. The impact of that lie, dude, we should dig that bitch up and beat her dead. For real.
Did she die yet? Is she still alive? Maybe we can go kick over for a bed in the hospital.
She better be dead, or she better be in fucking she better be dead, or she better be in protection, witness protection. Because that was one of the most, I've never seen a lie that has impacted more people than that lie.
Well, I mean, this lady's still alive.
Yeah.
She's still alive. Her
Okay.
name is Carolyn Bryant. She is in Indianola, Mississippi is where she was born. I don't know if she lives there now, but according to this, she's still alive. She's 88. So we should go get that old bitch and lock her up.
Drag that bitch through whatever city in Mississippi that is. I can't say I would do it on this video. I don't want no FBI to come say, hey, you're calling for murder or nothing like that. I'm not truly doing this as a comedic level. But that lie right there, that lie was so impactful, and everything around it was so impactful that she should be charged with something. It could even be treason at this point.
I mean, there should be some sort of false report. She should do a couple months in jail or something. Like her dying years should be spent locked the fuck up.
Exactly. And I hope, karma's a motherfucker, right? I hope she's in a nursing home with Black folks, you know what I'm saying, that had to take care.
Pinch her ass every night.
Leave that bitch sitting in dookie and piss for months. Leave her ass. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Reuse diapers.
Still, lady, don't feed her today.
People's diapers on that bitch. I'm telling you, that shit, the shit she did, man, that shit was so impactful. And for her to own up to the fact that she lied, we already knew all her men, her husband and everybody was lying. But for her to
yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, say she lying. This motherfucker is a problem, man. Can you hear that? My girl,
yeah.
My girl is trying to she know I'm on the damn podcast.
Well, you can cut this out, right?
Yeah, I mean, I told you she was a little crazy, didn't I? It's the type of shit I go through, but it's all good. Love her to death. She down for me like a motherfucker. Full flat top, right? So I love her. I deal with all the crazy. But anyway, let me send her this love. I'm on the podcast. People that look at podcasts, they understand all of this shit anyway. Chicago got a nice amount of shows, little clubs popping up, man.
They do.
You remember Khalil, the Indian?
I do remember Khalil.
Yeah, Khalil basically got a club now. It's called Red Door.
Really? It's called what?
It's called Red Room Comedy Club. It's sweet too. It's nice. Look it up online. Check it out. Then of course we still got Improv. We still got Laugh Factory. Up is so mysterious. You know what I mean? Nobody. I can't figure Up out. You can't tell. I don't know if they really deal with local cats or cats that came from Chicago, or if they just, I don't know what it is. They stick to Improv. It's Second City, so the Improv gonna be their first thing.
Yeah.
Then we got, of course, Riddles. Damon got Riddles solidly humping now.
I'm at Riddles next month.
Yeah, Riddles.
I'm at Riddles and the Improv. I'm gonna be at both Riddles and the Improv in subsequent weeks.
Okay, nice. Yeah, of course I'm gonna support both of those. I haven't actually stepped in the improv in a long time, just for logistics, right? It's all the way out there in Schaumburg.
Hamburg,
I'm
yeah.
doing more. I'm doing more road gigs, and then I got some. You know, me and you was Rob. I have a lot of little hustles, man. I got a really nice Shopify store.
Really?
Yeah, it's doing well too, man. I wake up to 3, 4, 5 sales a day on Shopify. I'm selling all types of shit. It's evanstonman.com. I own the magazine, evanstonmagazine.com. And then I got all types of little hustles. So I don't really be seeking out and then the politics be so thorough at everywhere. So I don't be seeking out a lot of places. But so when you're there, I'm gonna enjoy coming, to check out the show and everything.
Man, yeah, come hang out. Let's do some things, see what happens.
Yeah, that's
because that's the only way you're gonna move the needle is if you hang out.
Yeah, that's it. But I'm wondering, since you're headlining, have you asked them to allow you to play Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage commercial before your show?
I'm sure they would if I asked for it. I'm sure they would if I asked for it.
Bro. You should really be, not that I could tell you what to do, but as far as branding goes and as far as creating a show prior to you stepping on before the show starts, right? You should have them play that while the seating or somewhere down the line, because they have a pre-show video. Yeah, exactly. And it creates an environment. It creates it sets well with your branding. You know what I mean? And then it'll be something different for the people too. And then guess what? All the improvs, when you start doing all the improvs, man, and hopefully I'll be able to open up on a few of those.
Absolutely.
I'll go easy on you. You know what I mean?
I don't want that at all. Dumb hot shit in my lap. I ain't finna fail. I
heard you when you said
on that, baby. I handle it. I
know. I'm just fucking with you. We go back. I'm gonna fuck with you when I'm in the grave. I'm gonna raise up and say, "Wow,
hand gonna
jump out the dirt. You and Foot Massage, get me." And I'm gonna be buried with a bottle of Foot Massage barbecue, just so if you get the inkling that you want to give me one.
Yes, sir. So at this point, man, where we are now is we're gonna be traveling. We're gonna be doing some shows. I'm gonna be promoting some things. I will be if you let me back on the podcast, I'll tell you this other stuff that we got going on.
Oh no, it ain't no let. We gonna do it again. Actually, you know what's even doper, bro? Is I got 2 out of the country promoters that I'm pretty solid with. One is in China and the other one is in Canada. The China one, this dude, man, is telling me, I did the podcast with him 2 days ago. He telling me that if you can get past all of the regulations, like they don't want you to cuss, they want you to be purely clean, they want to see what you're doing prior to. But once you hit the comedy environment out there is so new that you got cats making 200-300 grand. All of a sudden, I said, man, I can't wait to get out there. You know what I'm saying? And then
be careful. Be careful. Be careful. You might go there and then be a sex slave. You get to China and shit.
Hey man,
you get the club and then they hang your ass in. Huh?
I said, as long as it ain't dudes, bro, I'll put that costume for them Asian women, bro, my girl. I'll bring my girl. We have a threesome.
Hey, not only is it gonna be dudes, they're gonna also have you making iPhones and shit.
Hey, that's pretty racist, but okay, I get it. They better not teach me to make them iPhones, boy. We're gonna have an A phone out. So
they gonna have you assembling iPhones while you being raped.
While I'm telling jokes. I'm telling jokes, getting raped from the booty side and doing phones.
Put together an iPhone.
Right. And doing TikToks at the same time.
Hey, you thought slavery was rough. You thought slavery was rough. You fuck around with slavery.
Right. You know what? That's a great fucking concept right there, bro.
This you putting together an iPhone while trying to Black man, white man, Chinese man. Get the fuck out.
Right. Yeah. That's funny as hell. What's crazy though, check this out. We, hey, I wonder if there was a time when black folks had to deal with Asian folks wanting to be slavers or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? We never know.
I'm sure it's something in the annals of history.
Because really, them motherfucking Europeans, if they had hit that China market first, they'd have had the whole world change right now. Them motherfuckers work way harder than we do. They should have went.
Hey man, don't fall for the bullshit. Don't nobody work harder than us. These motherfuckers got all they got because of us. Fuck
yeah, I'm just talking shit. I'm just being silly. But yeah, shit. For decades, we was one of the hardest working people. We still basically the hardest working people. Look at this woman that's getting to be the Supreme Court justice. You look at all her qualifications. She should be president and judge and have, a car lot or some extra shit. This motherfucker's so qualified. She qualified to do anything.
Hey, not only that, hey, look, and then they should have her teaching how to be a lawyer while she on the Supreme Court, because of that she can't do it. And then they should let her negotiate our reparations. Hold on, this is what I propose. Okay, wow, this is what we asked for. Okay. We let her negotiate reparations, give the black community all the weed. Just take all the white folks, kick them out of weed, give it to us. And you ain't got to ask, we ain't got to ask you for shit else. Just give us the weed and we'll take care of ourselves based on that.
Or all drugs, and control over cocaine.
We don't need all drugs. Give me the weed.
That's gonna be next. They're gonna find a way to allow recreational cocaine. It'll be the next thing. I guarantee.
They can have that. Just give me the weed. Listen, man. It's roughly, I don't know what, 45 million black people in America.
Okay.
And how much money they making off of weed? A few billion. You can take care of every hood in America for that.
They killing it. But the good concept. I love the concept. And you're right. Her and Dr. Anderson, Claude Anderson together. And man, we'll all be sitting. We'll catch up. Put it like that. We'll catch up.
Yes.
And that's probably why they don't.
We may not. Well, here's the thing, bro. Let's not fool ourselves.
Yeah.
There is no way to catch up on a 200-year head start. There's no way you're gonna count 400. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
400 years of slavery, and then after that, the Jim Crow.
Yeah.
You might be able to catch up, but it's gonna take more than a lifetime or two. You know what I'm saying? But what
we more tongue in cheek right here anyway. And I hear what you're saying, but don't shortchange the cocaine assault that happened to us either. You know what I'm saying? You saying Jim Crow,
no doubt.
But that was a direct assault on our community. It was
absolutely it was, but that's a part of that. Well, this is what you have to understand. Is that white supremacy has to evolve like everything else. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. As long as I make my money off of you, it doesn't matter how. If I make my money off you by using you as a pawn to keep you locked up, to keep everybody else scared, as long as I'm making the money, it doesn't really matter how. Right. So if you don't want to work no more, okay, then just your body is still gonna make me money. You understand what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
So the evolution is in the way that it is technically happening at the moment, but it doesn't change.
No, we on the same page, and we do, Miss Justice Brown Jackson, I think her name is, and I know Claude Anderson, Dr. Claude Anderson has the right idea,
and he is brilliant.
Yeah, a couple other brothers that have studied what we're talking about. They all get together, then we can, then they can, the country can find a way to make us whole, like they did the Asian folks and the Jewish folks, and maybe we could. Here we go. Let's okay. So that is part of the podcast. We're gonna cut right there. But here's some more stuff I want to talk to you about. That's gonna be the rough cut right there. That sound. All right, so what's your take on Cosby, man? Let's talk about these things. Let's talk about some current events unless you don't want to talk about it, because I know
we can talk about it. I just don't. It's almost 11. So,
yeah.
so
Whenever you want to go, you can talk to me.
we'll talk about these.
We done with
the.
We done with the podcast, bro. So go ahead.
Okay. My thing about Cosby is if you did it, you should do time for it. However, he ain't the only one that did it. You dig what I'm saying? So if we gonna give people prison time, let's give everybody prison time. Let's talk about the allegations that surrounded Hugh Hefner. Right. He got to die being a perv. So if we gonna fuck over Cosby, let's fuck over everybody. Okay. Now everybody that's doing such shit. And I wasn't there, you weren't there. I don't know what happened, but it's an awful lot of chicks to say that you did it for you not to have done it. But let's just suppose you didn't do anything. Then why did you keep putting yourself in a position? When you admit that you had drugs that you was giving these chicks, whether you slipped it to them or not, you already put yourself in a position not to be the guy that you told us you were. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. And the timing of how you cut us off is really also questionable. But even in all that Cosby did or didn't do, we know that Hugh Hefner did or didn't do some of that same shit. Right. And if that motherfucker didn't get locked up and all these other people who did, because a lot of this society is based on sexual dominance. Well, if you're going to lock up one person for it, lock everybody up for it. If as a society, this is what we're going to say. But what wound up really happening is what every Black person finds out when they get too big for their bridges. Yeah. When you get to the point where you think you are equal to white people, they find a way to teach you that you are not.
True. Very much so. A lot of times they use a Black person to teach you that too.
Absolutely. You know what I mean?
Just it's a systematic chess move that they do. What's crazy is I always kind of check back to the movie Roots, and there's a scene that everybody knows. I may have mentioned this to you before, but when dude was trying to teach Kunta Kinte that he was in charge and his name was Toby. And he would be like, "What's your name, boy?" Slap. It was a Black dude swinging the whip.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me. Okay.
Go ahead.
From time to time, I use the term cracker. Now, white folks don't want you to ever use cracker. Facebook won't let you use it. None of that because they cannot allow too much to come out. But here's the thing: a cracker is a person. I was once a cracker. A cracker is a person that defends the status quo of slavery. Right. That's their job to. That's what the. Yes. That's what I mean. I'm sorry. The cracker. Your job is to keep the bullshit moving, right? So when you in the police department, you are a cracker. When you are, because that's the way police started as slave patrol.
Yes.
Right. If you making so much money that the world recognizes you, then the way you making that money, you don't want it to stop. They didn't want slavery to be over with. They found a way to keep it going, even though it ain't what it used to be. It evolved like every other technology. And so when you have to have somebody to maintain that person is the person who actually cracks the whip to keep the work going in the field.
Right. Absolutely.
That's what a crack. It has nothing to do with a tasty little snack. No, it has all to do with whooping bodies to keep them moving, right?
Yeah.
But you can't say cracker nowhere now. Everybody call you a racist. No, I'm not the one who actually put whips on backs. Well, me personally, I haven't put a whip on a back, but I did play the role of a cracker. Yeah. And there are several types of crackers, right? Yeah. And when you the police, that's one of your jobs is to crack that whip and make sure the status quo is able to be maintained.
Absolutely. And there's an art to being able to say the word cracker right. I'm not good at it, but it was this cat I grew up with, man. That motherfucker say it like a 70s porn star. Shit was great. You got to get a grasp on it. These motherfucking crackers. You know what I mean? I don't know how he say it, but he say the shit so poetically. I'll be like, God damn, he's good at that. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, like, even in that, you can't really say, like, what is the opposite of a nigga? There can't be one. There's not one. They won't allow it to happen. You know that. Remember when we used to call people honkies in the 70s?
Yeah.
That was some shit they called themselves. They would go to bars and shit, honky tonks and shit. Yeah, that's what they had. There has never been a term that Black people gave that stuck because as soon as we start saying shit, they change. They make sure you can't say it.
They embrace
none of that shit stuck.
Yeah, they embrace it, and that's what happened with us a little bit. We kind of figure it out. We figured it out, so we started embracing the word nigga, and then we didn't took it too far. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So anyway, one more topic for you, Rob, please, and then we'll let you go, man, because I know you got a lot of hoes to keep on the stroll.
Yeah, I got weddings and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go do my social Saturday thing.
I love it. I love it. Good for you, man. So, what's your take on this conversation? And this may be a longer one. We had to finish some other time, but the conversation of equality when it comes to transgenders playing sports or interacting against the original gender, especially men who swim, lift weights, fight, play sports with on the women's teams. What's your take on that?
I don't know enough about the science to say, but I will say this: if you define who you are, that's on you. If you can't say who you are, who can? Right? And so if it ain't none of my business. I don't compete in shit. Like I compete, but I don't compete in athletics. And I don't know exactly what scientifically takes place in your body once you change your hormonal structure.
Right.
I don't know enough about it to make that decision. But what I will say is when you define yourself, that's your right to do it, because these people define themselves all the time. So whatever it is, it don't have nothing to do with me. I don't have a whole lot of talk about it. If you beating the shit out of a chick and you still got all your man parts, then I'm thinking that might be an issue, but I don't really know. I don't have enough information to make a judgment, and it really don't affect me, so I don't really care.
Got you. Respect that. I disagree that it doesn't affect you, because here's my take on it, and we'll end. I know I don't want to take it too long because, man, I love you. I want you to do your work, do what you got to do. But the slippery slope is this: if there's a hard enough charge that goes against just say the guy who became a woman and swim against other actual females and won, if he's saying that genetically he gets to be a woman, and we argue that you're superior to women, because that's the slippery slope. Is a man superior to women in any way? If not, then he should be able to compete. If it is true, then he should not be able to compete. The flip side is there's always been an undertone of belief, and we keep proving them wrong, but there's a belief in the true racist that white people's skin creates that they are superior to black or browner skin. Now we keep showing them that it's not true. We keep surviving their traps, but they can use that argument to try to subvert the growth that black people have had. So we have to be very careful when fighting against transgender, because there's a relationship there of trying to suppress.
Well, I will say this: it attributes itself to white supremacy, and let me tell you why. No matter what the situation is in America, white folks gonna find a way to make it to their advantage. Okay, so like when you hear people talk about anti-woke culture now, that's the big thing, because anytime you make any advancement using a term, they're going to find a way to make the term derogatory. Just like when Black Lives Matter, everybody was like, Black Lives Matter, they did this, they made money, they did this, they did that. But anytime black people advance in any way, you're going to find fault in it, right? So let me back up a little bit. Anytime you say politically correct now, everybody get all up in arms. Even black people get upset, like everything's too politically correct. It's not everything that everything is too politically correct. What it is that white folks find the most extreme example of anything and make that the norm. So anything you say that works for you, they find a way to turn it against you. And because they run everything and they got 400 years a head start, no matter what you say or do, it's going to work against you. So just like there will be women, men that compete with women, it's going to be the opposite. You would think. So what I'm saying is, the long and short of what I'm saying is, no matter what advancement any other person in the society makes, white men are going to find a way to frame it as a negative. Yeah. Like when we ask people to stop raping, just don't rape no more, dog. Stop raping. They done found out a way. Oh no, they're gonna come at you with what they call it when they're gonna me too your ass. Everybody's scared to be me too. Now there are gonna be some shady bitches that's gonna me too you. Yes, that's true. But that is not the norm. And once we start to make what is the outlier the norm, then no advancement will ever be made. Because every time you say XYZ is happening, they're going to say, but what about this? And they're going to always use that as an example against the people who are trying to advance from the situation that they were in. Just like anytime you mention, anytime you mention Black Lives Matter, anytime you mention, like when it defund the police, it doesn't matter what you call it. They're going to find a way to make what you critical race theory. Anything a cracker don't like, they call it critical race theory. And critical race theory don't even be taught nowhere. But if you say that slavery was bad in one form or another, they're going to call that critical race theory. So even if again, I understand fully what you're saying. The fact of the matter is, any advancement anybody makes that's not a white male, they're going to label it something and then use it against that minority that they're using it against. It ain't that many trans people that's rocking the world, because it ain't that many of them. So why do we have to give that much attention to what the shit they do anyway? It's just another way to keep you divided and conquered.
Right. Absolutely. I fully understand that, man. And thank you for being so candid today, man. I hope we touch some points that will advance, the Robert Hines brand.
I thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
You're a phenomenal brother in this game for me. You've always been a good, kind soul. Man, I look forward to doing more with you in the future, brother.
Hey, man, I want to get a big, nice watch like the one you got.
Hey, man, you know what? Go to evanstonman.com and buy your watches, brother. That's
all right. I'm on that.
And get that money. If you once we get things going, I'll show you how to make one of them sites that sells that stuff, and we can, you get your brand out there, and sell barbecue sauce. You sell barbecue sauce yet?
No, hell no. If I tried to, them guys will come in like, hey, we want our cut.
Okay, well, let's not touch that. I was trying to say, hey, man, let me stop this recording. Love you, brother, and we're gonna get this shit going.